So I need to look for clues, but where? It's kind of weird being back at Hope Speak Academy. Okay, then. Yes, we will leave the gymnasium because everyone else did. Wait, we were at the 5th floor? And the game is looking more buggier than ever now. Huh? Beep beep. That's weird. Is this hallway a way thing to get... was a thing to get to the gymnasium, but it's clearly yes, we're on the 5th fucking floor. Is this Monokuma's doing? Is he trying to confuse us again? I don't know how he's doing it, but he keeps doing it over and over again. He's so freaking crazy. But I'm not going to fail for this trip. There's no way this will make me go back. Will make me back down. The glitchiness! This is annoying! Sonia, what are you seeing in here? This hallway, there is a strange feeling in it. You know shit it is! It's buggy central! As if stop going on top of the reading I'm trying to do. You damn pixels. Well has been entered to limit...
I am concerned.
Is it just me? No, it's... This is annoying as hell, and I'm actually kind of scared my computer's just gonna crash. That's the scary part. Okay, I remember all... Oh, good lord. This isn't creepy whatsoever. Okay, I'm not going that way. Can't go that way. Stop it! Behave, game! The dojo's here. Who's in the dojo? Is this a dojo? It feels for a strange thing that makes me think there's no way we are inside a school. Yeah, that's how I felt the first time as well. Perhaps it's making to examine the inside of the building. I'm more concerned about this. What is this? A book? Or a manga? That looks more like a manga. Huh? What is this? Is this a manga? The title is... Manga of Mysteries, a History of Hope Speak Academy by Monokuma. Okay, that right there. Look at that little anime character, then look at the little chibi thing right next to her. I'm not sure how many of you have ever watched the anime, oh god, what's that anime? It's a magical girl anime, but it's so fucked up. And there's like a cute little animal that gives them powers, but then it twists and it turns dark. I can't remember. Doka Magica, I think? I'm not 100% sure, but that's what that reminds me of. Why is a manga with such a surprising looking title lying out in the open like this? Let's start with the history first, class.
Hey,
Reading manga is the third best way to learn about history. Then what? The first, you ask? Discovering it from a person, okay. So just as I thought, Monokuma made this to. That totally explains how surprising it looks. I really want to just ignore it, but there's no way I can do that. Fine, I'll look it up. I'll look at everything that may be a clue to get out of here, no matter what it is. And then we found boobs. Just manga pages of boobs. Oh look, those are Akane's. Giggity. I picked up the manga off the floor and started flipping through the pages. In the instance of Hope's Peak Academy history, the story begins with an entry to Hope's Peak Academy. Hope's Peak Academy is a general fun-down school where only the most talented high school students can hope to achieve. But to reach hope is the necessary future. May of it. New students are chosen through a special process, but the ones who skip there then are Hope's Peak Academy teachers who serve as both lecturers and research for the. Okay. Hope's Peak Academy isn't just a school for talent, it is also a school for reaching talents as well. However, for the past few years, Hope's Peak Academy has been suffering from the decline. Wait, the detail of failing? Of funding. Okay, hold on. If this proceeds, the Academy believes they will not be able to make persons with their. So they decide to invest in a new study. The Reserve Division. Okay, so what this is saying is, Hope's Peak Academy started off with just ultimates, but then there were like running out of ultimates because there's only so many talents you can have in the world. So they decided to have a normal school division. Unlike the main division, who serves for the Reserve Division unusually is. So that's where I'm from, the Reserve Division. No phase was here and a plan and change. We're looking after the Reserve Division. The exam fields for the Reserve Division are quite high compared to most high schools. Nonetheless, Hope's Peak Academy returns an endless storm or a stream of its applicants. Hope's Peak Academy was now available to talentless people who only could apply the. With this, Hope's Peak Academy may manage to amass certain funds and begin future research for talents. To achieve Hope's Peak Academy wishes, a true Gens was who would become making hope. But just then, they thought everything was going well. An unexpected incident occurred. The incident that triggered the tragedy. The beginning, the tragedy. The beginning of the most awful, horrible world thing in human history. That's right, it was the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Hope's Peak Academy was completed by the incidents of few to shut down without accepting anything. The end. Okay. Huh? The ending was so sudden, like the manga that suddenly cut off. It's like a two-part manga. You were left on a cliffhanger. I hate those. Plus those at the end of the manga. The tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Those names are so misunderstood. There's no way the incident really happened, right? An incident really happened, right? This manga only mentions the names, so I don't really know the details, but no, it's just been a waste of time to worry about things that don't make sense. More importantly, I've learned something because of the manga. The Reserve Division. Yeah, we've just learned about the Reserve Division. That's why the Reserve Division was made. Hope's Peak was running out of students that they could pretty much make talents out of, so they decided to make a normal high school division. That detail was the only was only built for money. I was one of those reserve corps students, right? So, are you from a wealthy family? Oh, make it rain with money.
But hold on.
Huh? That's weird. Oh, you're here again?
Shing!
The thing that's weird is you, of course. Huh?
Hey! Hey!
Why did you forget that you were part of the Reserve Division? The Future Foundation only took away your school life memories, right? But you should know even before you entered that you had no talent, right? That is true. So, I think it's weird that you actually forgot something like that, too. What do you mean? What do you need to say?
By the way...
Based on my analysis, the Future Foundation must have wanted to hide the fact that you were one of the Reserve Corps students.
I got it!
Or you're willing to... I don't get you at times, Bear. You wanted to become confident in yourself, so you wanted to forget everything that embarrassed you. You know, when humans experience tragic something, they erase their memories for what happened? It happens pretty often. Not that I know anything about that, though. Are you saying it's my fault I forgot that? That's not it.
Come on.
When things get interesting, you've always got angry and tried to brush it off. Well, that's expected from a Reserve Corps student. Damn it, what the heck? Reserve Corps division has been added. Okay, that's one. Is there anything else here? Maybe the lockers. There's a bunch of wooden lockers here. Each of them is tied with a wooden... I guess there's nothing there. I guess I could leave. Yes, I will leave. That's good information about the Reserve Corps. This is annoying as hell. Stop. Wait, I remember something. Now, either... Yep. If memory serves me correctly, this classroom was... Or was it the other one? I don't know. I kind of remember there being a classroom that was covered in blood. And this is not that classroom, but there's another manga. This is another manga? It's lying on top of the desk. This one is manga from Maru, the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy, huh? Wasn't the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy mentioned in that other manga too? It's why Hope's Peak Academy was brought in, and it was the trigger for the beginning of the most tragic, awful event in human history. If I read this manga, will I be able to learn a little more about the incident? I took the manga from the desk and started flipping through the pages. see what I could learn about the event known as the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. The story made heavy use of often studying this. What's written here is, as the name suggests, the title, the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy occurred at Hope's Peak Academy. The key player in that incident was a student named Izuru. Japanese names I can never pronounce. Isaac, I'm just gonna call him Isaac for short. Was a general known as a symbol of hope. Or Izuru? Maybe Izuru. Hold on. Izuru was known as a symbol of hope. Hope's Peak Academy used all their research to develop him. Surprisingly, Izuru was granted almost generally a password willing super talent for the hope of mankind. Oh, and supreme talent for the hopes of the Academy's referred to Isaac as the ultimate hope. But in the last game, we already had. Then again, this might have been their attempt at making a real ultimate hope. Then, to prove such a research talent, the Academy occurred all events for Isaac's origins. Wait. All events of Isaac's origins and identity. Did they erase his identity? Because of that, most of the students at the Academy were completely unaware of Isaac's existence. But Isaac, who was known as the symbol of hope, was responsible for the most horrible incident. But, oh, so does this mean that the villain in the first game was actually a lapdog for this guy? The Ultimate Hope had the Ultimate Despair as their puppet. 13 students of Hope... 13... I think that's 13. 13 students of Hope's Peak Academy started kind of around the Academy base and were basically murdered by... Okay. However, the incident did not end there. The action's talent to protect Isaac's... as though it never... So they pretty much covered up a murder. The Academy covered up a murder that of a student they helped made. However, a current student began working such to use that instrument to their own advantage. That student overcame what the Academy did, and by making that known public, it sparked the fire of reserve corps students who had long been dissatisfied with how they've been treated, and the upper brigades, and that horrible Hope's Peak Academy. This is the event of the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Eventually, that incident would learn to the horrifying detail incident. The incident that would be known as the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. Words chosen. Wait. Oh. Work. Danganronpa 0. Okay. With a heavy sigh, I closed the manga. I'm supposed to believe this? There's no way 13 people were killed at Hope's Peak Academy. What irony! For a guest known as, for someone known as the Ultimate Hope to cause such a horrifying incident. A gruesome incident, that was it. A talent like that is too. It's like trying to buy juice with a bar of gold. Oh! You shouldn't be lucky that You should be lucky that that I avoided it. Damn it! He's always has to lay up something often. He seriously pisses me off. But ultimate hope? Nocto mentioned that before too, but it looks like it may something completely different. What Nocto said was the true meaning of hope, but of Isuka hope symbol my main talent. More importantly, general I can't read, who's possibly Void's talent. I wish they gave me one of those talents so I don't have to be a reserve course student. That's right, the reserve course. Here it says that the reserve course students in the reserve division began uprising. Then, what about me? Was I a participant too? No, that's not possible. There's no way I have no reason to do something like that. Okay, Tragedy of Host Peak has been added. Anyway, I've been learning about the tragedy of Host Peak Academy, but the beginning of the most awful tragic event in human history is a far worse incident right? What kind of incident was it? And who is the student? Who's the student that is in Isuka? Police student who used the incident to their advantage. Who is that? This is really messed up, but this information is really messed up, but all it's doing is raising more questions. The mystery just keeps piling up. Okay, so I guess the reserve course didn't know that they were being pretty much there for money. Is there anywhere else I can go? Hey, wait, what? That was not like that before. Okay, these walls are giving me the heebie-jeebies. This is the morgue, if I remember correctly. That biolab, this is the morgue. What the hell is this room? It's freaking cold in here! It's like I'm in a freezer or something. If I just stand still, I may end up freezing to death. I should hurry up and investigate so I can get the hell out of here already. Oh, this manga looks creepy. There's another manga just lying on the floor. This time its title is... The manga I've mentioned, the beginning of the most... This is the tragedy. Okay, we'll finally get more detail about the tragedy. I knew it. The next one would obviously be about this incident. The beginning of the most tragic, most horrible event in human history, huh? Just what was that incident really all about? It may turn out to be something... It might be something we need. At first, I flipped through the pages of the manga and hoping that I was right. Ooh, it's cold. That is a horrifying manga title. And that's a horrifying manga picture. A story about the carrying down characters who got involved in such a horrible incident. An incident known as the biggest, most awful tragedy in human history. Is this drawn so gently because the incident is that gruesome? Anyway, the beginning of this crazy manga starts with this sentence. The tragedy of Host Peak Academy was settled the trigger. So that was the trigger. What happened in Host Peak Academy was the trigger that caused a whole domino effect of shit. At first, the uprising by the reserve corps students that target the talent of Holtzby Academy was hoped to be resolved quickly. Was hoped to be resolved quickly, but the students completely the dangerous example. Most of the students started all over the incident. Online comments, internet chat rooms, the comment section in the YouTube comment sections. They're evil at times. The comments was not limited to students, and people of various races and nations began joining in. But the moment was not confined on the was not confined to the internet and began spreading and invading the real world. Yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing the pictures from the first game. When the most started, the incident from any other dangerous incidents by starting, but as it spread across the world like a fucking disease, a kind of it soon came to light. By then, it was too late. The end and the most hard incident became their only goal. The strong bunch, the weak. The weak killed the weak. The weak killed the weak, worthless. Any of them. As soon the weak fell flat to be the murdered the start as a victim. Oh, good. The shock of those actions began to as if the air was raising to move uncomfortably times, when suddenly death were the norm. That's not good. The murders were overcome with death to the point when people were watching them while enjoying a meal. By the time the world realized what had happened, what had become, it was too late to stop what had happened. A feeling of instant despair began spreading and enveloped the entire world. Acts to try and complete details be already the world. A war. Oh God. In the name of despair. A war forced not to face. Oh God. Just war. So there wasn't anything. It was just to kill. And because of that, there was no way to resolve it. How could a moment start by how could something like this start from a high school, then spread to World War fucking III? The only explanation is the explanation of an organization divided to complete stand who involves Holtzby Academy. A group called the Ultimate Despair? So there's more than one. Okay, this makes more sense now. Because there was no way one person. Okay, because in the first game, one person apparently, or just like this one person did this. No, apparently this is a group. It started using Holtzby Academy style. So it started at Holtzby Academy. Then this group pretty much went more crazy and spread like wildfire. They used them for their sick and making. They used them for their sake of making despair. The sake of making despair. Key members of the used their incident to mention in others to spare. Truly scared. The powerful and the infinite control Nuvens. And with this, they complete the tragedy, the beginning of the most. Okay. As long as ultimate despair exists, the despair enveloped the entire world will never end. The tragedy will never end. My heart was racing, in my chest, but my body felt ice cold. You're in a freezer. And it wasn't because I was in a freezer, it wasn't in a freezing in this room. The beginning of the most awful, tragic event in human history. This is definitely all made up. I mean, if this is really true, then what's happened in the outside world? My family, my friends, the completely storm. I forgot. What's happened to them?
No way!
Hey! Are you seriously yelling at a manga? How crazy are you? Who would enjoy reading something like this? Several people I know.
What?
Oh my! You didn't like the manga?
Whew.
A high school student who doesn't like manga is like an office lady who doesn't like to eat candy. Enough! What is this messed up manga? I thought you already knew about such a horrifying event that destroyed the entire the world, but for you not to remember that such despair, that the Future Foundation failed things thanks to them starring for your school memories, stealing your school memories. The incident that happened during that period has been completely removed from your brain. This incident really happened, and I actually forgot about it? There's no way that's possible.
What are you saying?
How many times do I have to tell you? All the clues are real.
Hello.
Please understand, I'm rooting for you. If you don't learn about the full incident of the outside world, you guys will suffer for sure. I just want to help you guys so you can live with your everyday lives in the outside world. I see. So that's how it is. That's what he meant by what he said at the beginning. Well, as the headmaster, I'm compelled to know. On one hand, I'm really happy that you're finally going to graduate. But on the other hand, I'm worried about whether you guys will be okay in the outside world. Then why I'm thinking about telling you what the outside world is like before you make a decision. Whether you want to leave Jabberwock Island or stay here. He's trying to make us feel full of despair, throwing us outside so we'll want to stay on this island. But there's no way I'm going to do that. What he wants. Despair is like that symbol that can exist. The outside world should be filled with hope. Just like now. Perhaps, no, that's definitely it. Okay, the tragedy has been added to my collection. Whether or not this incident really happened, what's in the world is this ultimate despair group? What in the world is this ultimate despair group? If they really destroyed to cause. I am not reading good today. Are they completely to both the tragedy and the tragedy? Are they connected to both the tragedy and the tragedy of Hope Peak Academy? Plus, that organization isn't just one person, but a group of people. But if they're known as the ultimate despair, they're high school students, right? Well, if they were actually able to do it then I guess that's why they were called Ultimates. Then are they killers who were involved and command as they will? It's no use. I'm going to freeze to death. I'm at my limit. I need to get out of here. Seriously, I ran out of the freezing room. Whew, that was a close. I nearly froze to death. So where should I go next? Where can I go next? It's a better question. Because I don't know where to go next. Then again, there was this room that just opened up, apparently. What the hell? No, I should just ignore it. I'm just going to prove. I'm just going to pretend I don't see him.
Jeez.
When I went inside this room, that bastard bear was suddenly here. He keeps glaring at me. I wonder why. It's going to be seriously enough. Wait.
Damn right.
So I'll let you handle it. There's no way I'm going to deal with that idiot. I don't want to do that either. Hey, Monokuma.
Hiya.
Why, hello, Ajime. I hope you're doing perfectly well. Are you perfectly well? You're perfectly well, right? What are you doing here?
No.
Well, there was another thing I needed to tell you on this floor. I got bored of drawing manga. You can forgive me for telling you by word from the mouth, okay? Yeah, you shouldn't done that from the beginning. I don't want to read your manga in the first place. They're just as bad as your movies. A high school student who doesn't like manga is like a what? A summer. I don't even know what type of jokes. I got the secretary one, not liking candy, but this one I don't get. I'm getting really fed up with your belly balling. Hurry up with it. Hurry up. What did you need to tell me? It's about the key point of the information you've been waiting so long for.
What?
It's about the ultimate despair. Huh? Even though the troop ultimate despair reserved to a group these days.
Actually,
It was originally the talent of a high school girl. The talent of a high school girl who was the most powerful, evil, and fearless person alive. Yep, I remember that from the first game. So was she the leader? A high school girl?
yes, indeed.
Lady Junko. Junko.
Hey,
As for the Founder's ultimate despair, she created a despair brain rhyming with choice and horror. There was only one real horrible person in the group, or honorable person in the group.
don't fuck with me.
Hold on a second. I don't know what this ultimate despair are, but it's not that easy for me it's not that easy for an organization. There's no way people would join such a fucked up organization created by a high school girl.
Unbelievable.
Humans who are obvious with their own physical have an overcoming power to attract others. It's a talent shown by many faces late. Yeah, cause she was an ultimate fashionista. There's nothing stunning about it.
Hey,
That holds true for Lady Junko. With her ability to attract people, she even invented those in a higher power.
Phew.
Uh-huh. She even recovered people who were being in a position of no. I find that hard to believe, but again, this game doesn't leave much for being surprised anymore.
Huh?
Then what was their purpose?
Huh?
What? Like I said, why did they choose that incident? It doesn't even make sense. They had perfect right. There was no way they do what they did without any purpose.
Hey,
It was Junko's despair. Huh? For Junko, despair isn't about purpose. A set of vows, a way of life, or an instance. Despair is what defines Junko as Junko. What are you saying? I'm such a plush. Hajime is a human, and exactly like that. Junko is full of so much despair that she's truly hopeless. Living, dying, eating, loving, for her everything is despair. What the hell? With her overwhelming force of personnels, Junko reserved the ultimate despairs so she got them one by one. She caused their despair by taking advantage of their love, hate, anything really. Junko's despair is far more dreadful than any other. That idea has been issued. And so the ultimate despairs, who had been reserved because nothing more than Junko's lips, all despair, whenever it was their own or anyone else's, it was decided. Making offerings to their god. Like a mother providing food to her children. This is fucked up! All despair so they could escape from despair, all in Junko's name. For example, they killed their families and friends, and even destroyed their bodies. Oh, good fucking lord! And to hopeless top it, and to hopefully top it off, they completely believed in what it was, something that they had to do. There's no way something that crazy is possible!
What?
Do you know about the final day of the reserve course students dying? The tragedy of Host Peak Academy? The final days?
In other words,
Junko has the power to change people's values. This is especially true for familiar people's their history. Hey, what do you mean final days? What happened to the reserve division?
of course.
They fulfilled their role as disciples. They believed in what they needed to do. And so, the 2,357 students of the reserve course all committed mass suicide. I knew the bitch was a crazy one in the first game, but that's, oh, good lord. That's a lot to take in. Mass suicide?
What'd you say?
All 2,357 students? Whoops! It wasn't all of them. One person was expelled. Me. One person was exempted, huh? Is that me?
Damn it!
I don't believe it! There's no way I can believe this! Ultimate Despair, Junko! Huh. It doesn't scare me at all! I mean...
Bastard!
Junko is already dead! Huh? Ultimate Despair has been added to the frickin' mass suicide of the reserve course. Oh my god, that is a lot of information to take in.
Danganronpa.